Hello, welcome to another episode of 2830. I'm Larry Nimmer here at the Music Academy of the West, and today we're going to look at the rehearsals for a new opera, Antony and Cleopatra. Let's check it out. So hi, can you tell me your name?
Yes, my name is Emil Dorian Cristescu.
And tell us what's going on here today.
We are rehearsing a premiere of, it's not yet a premiere, Antony and Cleopatra, an opera written just very recently, and we have the librettist here, the person that wrote the words, Gene Tyburn, and it's another great operatic phenomenon that hopefully will catch on with people. And today is the last rehearsal. Tomorrow we have 3 performances at the downtown library, Faulkner Gallery, and so far I've been enjoying the work, and it's great operatic writing so far.
And what's your background?
Well, opera. I'm a professional opera singer. I've been in this business for 18 years now. Let's see, I'm 36. Yes, just about. And I came from Europe, as you can hear my accent. I'm originally from Romania. And I've been involved with the opera for the last 7 years here in Santa Barbara. But I travel a lot too. I have an agent, and I travel a lot for perform productions throughout the country and throughout the world. Been in Europe for a few months as well, performing there, and now I'm back. It's a little bit slow these days, but it will pick up soon.
What's it like being an opera singer?
Well, it's challenging. It's very challenging because times are a little bit different than they used to be, and besides, it's a little bit different here in the United States than it is in Europe. Arts are not as strongly supported here as they are in Europe by the government. Let's just say so. And but it's still a great deal of classical entertainment that happens, but it's a little bit challenging here in order to make it. It's very tough. I wouldn't suggest to somebody very young to get into it unless he's ready to take on the challenges and live with certain, disappointments sometimes. But so far, personally, I enjoy it.
Do you have to have a particular lifestyle to be an opera singer?
Definitely. I am, look at my age, I have no wife, no kids. Because in order to make a living, you have to travel. You have to travel all over the place, and that doesn't imply my money, but implies expense that money that I will make performing in different productions throughout the world, I would have to spend there. And being away, just the very idea of being away so long, it doesn't allow you to really have a family life. You know, when you get a contract, in order to be able to make a decent living each year, you got to continue that, have a chain of contracts, at least 7 or 8 a year. And each contract pays decently, but if you don't have that, then it's very hard to make it. Now, if you get lucky and you get all those contracts, that means you're out of your headquarters. Let's say if I live in Santa Barbara, I'm out of Santa Barbara for 8 months out of the year. Family life, out of the question.
Do you have to do any particular type of exercises or eat or sleep any particular way?
It's a very personal thing. Every person is different as far as preparations. Eating, yes, I got to eat less, as you can see. But those days of big opera singers are gone. Now they require also beauty. But as far as warm-ups, it's a very personal thing. I mean, a bass warms up differently than a soprano and a tenor. It's all different.
Well, thank you, then.
You're welcome.
We're still okay. Now you are?
I'm the librettist, and I wrote this opera about 6 years ago regarding my great passion for this particular piece of literature, and I put it on the World Wide Web, and I surprisingly got hundreds of offers to write the opera from all over the world. I never thought that would happen, and they sent me their CDs, and it was quite an honor for me to receive their music, and none of them fit the bill until this gentleman writes me and said, I want to write your opera, and I said, well, you have a go at it just like everybody else, and he wrote me back sent me the music, and I was absolutely stunned with the beauty of the work, and I think you're going to hear that tonight. And over the last 4 years, he's composed the rest of the opera, including a ballet, and he's writing my next opera based on Macbeth. And then I was called by someone in England who said, I want to write your Antony and Cleopatra. I said, well, it's already composed. And a gentleman said, well, what else do you have? So I said, well, I'm working on Iago, a version of Othello, but with Iago as the main character, and creating a slight la différence in the storyline, and making him more evil and more funny, and making it so that the whole thrust of my work is that I want to bring opera back to the people rather than to the elite that have hijacked the opera, because the opera has been hijacked by people who are very wealthy, who can afford $75 seats, and I think it's time that the American people got to see the opera and enjoy it, so that it would be something that they could partake in the way it used to be a long time ago. You know, when they did that, what was that The Godfather. There's a scene in The Godfather where a little in the Italian town, in the village of New York City, the Italian part of town, there's a scene that takes place where all the people they're just common folks enjoying the opera. And the opera should be enjoyed. It's the greatest art form in the world. It has all the elements of music, art, acting, everything. It's all culminates itself in the opera, and it should be a people's medium, not just for the elitists who can afford $75 a seat, or in New York probably $200 a seat. And I wanted to write an opera that was lyrical and would have a touching points with the people, not something that, well, you know, an American goes to the opera and he hears it either in Italian or he hears it in French or German. So he can't really enjoy the nuances of it. He just sort of like, if the music is transporting, then everything's going to be all right. So Americans only go to see approximately 10 operas in the whole world. There's hundreds and hundreds of operas written, but they only see around 10, the same, they call them La Butterfigaro Rigoletto. That's what they want to see because they're familiar with it and because those operas are transporting, okay? And I want to write an opera that would be transporting and about a great story and a great woman and about a story about people who are dealing with the same problems we are dealing with today, which is betrayal, lies, deceit, passion, and that's what most operas are all based on. And I wanted to write an opera like that, but I want the audience to sit there and actually understand all the nuance. So I went to Shakespeare, I went to Plutarch, and I took their works and I put them into rhyming couplets rather than iambic pentameter. And I wrote this opera over a period of a year after I went to Egypt. And then I put it on the World Wide Web. And we have an opera, and I can assure you it's something special.
Tell me, what is your name and what's your background?
My name is Gene Tyburn, and I was an actor for about 30 years, not a very successful one, and I was fed up with what I had to do to be in television and films and play the parts that I got. It wasn't very satisfying, and it's just not a very satisfying medium, the film business, because you're just what you call day labor. And people get into it and they're stuck in it because they have no other real, maybe they don't have some, I speak for myself, had no other real skills. And I got fortunate enough to learn about trees, and I became a tree surgeon. And I'm a very successful tree surgeon, and I love what I do, and it's very satisfying, and I'm in control of my life. But I needed to fulfill this urge that I had to make this story into an opera.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to seeing and hearing the rehearsal and let you go and maybe talk to you again in a moment.
That's one of the main themes.
Well, thank you. So, hi, tell me your name and what you're doing here today.
My name is Jean Piltz, and I'm involved in the chorus as well as a messenger for Antony and Cleopatra. I actually met Gene Tyburn at the radio station I work at, KZBN Radio, and he came and chatted with myself and the Baron Ron Heron on Santa Barbara Curtain Calls, our performing arts radio show every Sunday. And I was just so fascinated by this project. I'm not an opera singer. I thoroughly admit that. I'm a musical theater singer. But this music is unique enough and special enough that it needs to get performed. So this is a perfect venue to kind of put it all together, see all the pieces come together at the Faulkner Gallery, and get to say wonderful lines like, "News, my lord, from Rome," and be profound like that.
And what do you do other than work at the radio station?
I've been involved in a lot of theater throughout Santa Barbara and kind of throughout the Central Coast, and kind of just grew up doing this. I'm so lucky to have been able to go to UCSB, go to the university, and now be residing in Carpinteria and still continuing to do art here in Santa Barbara. Getting ready to do a play by David Mamet called The Life in the Theater. So getting ready to do that with the gentleman that I did The Mystery of Irma Vep, a two-person melodrama with. So it's wonderful to be part of a community that supports its artists, and where I can have come far enough where I can now be creating my own art in addition to being involved with other people's works of art.
How's it different working on an opera than other types of performances?
Well, the focus is definitely on the music, on the lyrics, on the technical aspects of the performance, rather than focusing on the emotion. With musical theater, you definitely do focus a lot more on technical things like dancing and movement and such, but this is truly, really about the music. We do have the librettist basically in charge here, and that almost overshadows the music sometimes. But just seeing how those two elements work together and gaining a really thorough understanding of those is really what makes this different.
Okay, well, nice to see you.
Well, nice to see you too. Thank you for documenting this process. It is a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you at the performance.
Okay. I have brought a simple blackjack.
So tell me your name.
I'm Diane Stevenette. Well, I don't know if I'm going to wear this, but I'll try it on. I'm a
multi-talent.
I'm a lyric soprano, coloratura. Used to be a lyric. Diane Stevenette did the original recording with Gene back in, a couple of years ago now for the CD, and it's just really a fun show. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to see a local talent do something that is kind of universal. I mean, he found the musician, the one that scored it in England, and so it's really exciting, and it's a journey. It's like a big sculpture that's unfolding and being carved away.
I understand he found the person who promotes it over the internet. Is that correct?
He found him online, and I think he had a few different people respond, but I think this was the most talented man, and it really is brilliant writing. It's really beautiful writing. It's good vision, really great vision.
Thank you, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
So what I was talking about was that, Americans are, because we're a monosyllabic people, we don't get to the full enjoyment of an opera because we speak only one language, and we're at a tremendous disadvantage because all 90% of the operas are written in another language. So they go and they look at the super titles, but they don't get the subtleties of performance because they don't understand the nuance of the language. And I wanted to write an opera in English, especially Shakespeare's work, which the greatest poet that ever lived, and I wanted to bring that poetry to opera. But I have never seen a Shakespearean opera written that I enjoy. because although Verdi, as an example, Verdi loved Shakespeare, but you never hear Verdi's version of his Shakespeare. They're not very lyrical. And lyricism is something that people, although they, the more sophisticated say it's not important, but most people want to see lyrical operas, and they wouldn't be attending the same operas over and over and over again for years unless it was a lyrical piece. So I wanted to write an see if I could write an opera that would have those elements, that would be interesting, intelligent, but accommodating to the English language, so that anybody, even an electrician, would be able, not even an electrician, a plumber, just somebody who works for a living, never had that experience, could then go to the opera and enjoy it for its full measure, rather than just for that special amount of people that I think, in a way, use the opera as a sign of their sophistication. I don't know that they really enjoy it. I go out afterwards and I'll stand around the people milling around, and they're talking about where they're going to eat afterwards, instead of, gee, did you see that performance? I mean, did you hear the way he hit that note? I don't hear that from Americans, because the truth is, we're not a cultured nation. And it's a pity, and people don't like to say that. And if you say that, it sounds maybe un-American. I'm telling you, we are a nation of boobs. That's the truth of it. And not that I'm a super sophisticate, but I think culture in this country is in a state of total deprivation. And I would like to see, I'd like to see us uplift ourselves a little more. I mean, all we talk about is baseball, bowling, beer, and Bush. But the 4 B's, you know, baseball, that's all. I mean, people go nuts. Their whole lives are wrapped around, you know, going to this ball game, which is totally fictitious, because the people are bought and sold. If you want a good team, if you have a lot of money, you have a good team because you paid for the best players. I mean, what kind of silliness is that? If they were all come from Philadelphia, that would be different. If they all came from, they had to be a Pittsburgher to be a Pittsburgh Pirate, that would be great. But to be bought and sold, and they say you've got the best team because you paid the most money, I think is, that doesn't square with me. In any case, my theme was to write an opera that I could have people come to that would enjoy it. One of the thrills I got when I first had written my opera is I wanted to see if I was in a state of denial, or a state of not knowing what I was doing, and that maybe what I had written was not worthy, and that I was just kidding myself because I had nobody to sound it off of. So one day I was out at a building site, and there was a couple of electricians and plumbers standing around, and I said, listen, I'd like to say something to you. And I gave them the opening scene of Antony and Cleopatra, and I said it to them. And they both stood there and they applauded. And I said, well, you're applauding? He said, yeah. I said, did it touch you? He says, my God. He said, did you write that? I said, yes, I wrote that. He says, well, that's fantastic. And I said, well, isn't that incredible that these guys who don't have a background in this sort of thing would enjoy this? And I knew then that I was able to touch regular people.
So we're going to take a listen right now.
Right, good.
Roman gossip rules the world. Who cares if it be rude? Means the thoughts of Roman gods, bought with grain and gold. I fear it's true. Age cannot wait I saw her once hop 40 paces through the public street, lost her breath and made light go on. 40 paces, where was she strong? Red light.
rehearsal?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
What is the part of the story that you're singing right now?
It's a trio between Antony, Enobarbus, and a messenger. And messenger is bringing very bad news, and so Antony reacts. Antony needs to go back to Rome and take care of business. He doesn't want to. He wants to stay with Cleopatra.
What are you doing right now?
And getting a pencil for our accompanist.
Okay, so
Oh, you found one, okay.
He loaned one to me, and we're going to repeat
Uh,
da-da-da-da-da-da-day.
Yes.
And then it goes back.
To here.
And then you play the melody.
To the 2/4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me your name, what's your part?
My name is Michelle Bork, and I am playing the role of Cleopatra.
Seek him straight away. If you find him safe, say that I am gay. If you find him heavy, say that I'm safe. For this is the trick they say, you know this little trick.
Another episode of 2830. I'm Larry Nimmer here at the Music Academy of the West, and you saw a little bit of Antony and Cleopatra. See you next time.
Come, my love, come, my sweet, one last night of love.